All right, for those just tuning in, just wrapped up our game between the AdMech and the Space Marines with the final score. Space Marines Iron Hands 80 to an AdMech 68. So at the beginning of our video, I said, if I can't handle vehicles with the list that I built, then we should not even be talking about infantry. And in this matchup, I was able to do some damage to vehicles, but I took out 3 of your 6. So didn't happen.
It did not. No,
Simple way to put it, didn't happen.
I think it gives, from looking at your AdMech the way I played, I think it gives you some power, but really it's focused on your quote-unquote oath target. I think he had struggled a lot more once we got away from that, which is the same thing with Marines, but I think it affects AdMech even more because you're base ballistic skill 4. And you have ways of getting around that in the detachment, but I just felt like it got really inconsistent when you weren't really re-rolling your hits.
Well, I think that my damage output was fine. Losing the robots at center, how fast they went down, that was a big hit. Just once you started hitting them and doing damage to them, they just fell apart so fast. And I mean, they got a 2-up save and a 5-up invuln, so they should have been able to push through a little bit of that, but they didn't. They just fell apart, which that was rough as it all, and it's all right there. But then, like you said, with them, then it goes into the sense of not being able to spread out and kind of tripping over Doctrina too. The Dragoons really need me to give them the assault boost to really be functioning and do more from it. So I don't know. The Scorpius, I'm on the fence about that thing, like the Scorpius tank. I'm on the fence about it because it did well, but it seemed like the onagers were kind of where it's at. They seem to just do better damage, be more reliable at all around, but that also could be because I had so much that I was able to go into. I mean, again, with the Land Raider, without both of them, the Land Raider doesn't go down. So it's tough. It's tough with that to think into that aspect. I don't know. So I'm still kind of digesting a few into it. Like I didn't expect the robots to go down as quickly. Usually I get more durability out of them than that. And that was it was really surprising to me how quick I was just like, oh, I guess they're going away. I guess I failed the saves. I guess they just fell apart, which in a dice game, that's going to happen. I kind of wish it wouldn't have happened in the first run of it so I could see more of what I need to do from that. But then it also kind of pulls me back into an aspect of, should I just gear over into that shooting? Just go into the AdMech gun line right now and just maybe have the robots hang out back more and stuff. So this is the first time playing AdMech in months, maybe even a year. Honestly, I have no idea when the last time I played I played AdMech more recently, but it's been months. So it's first time playing them and kind of getting the feel. And it was like, as I lost assets, it hurt bad. And it was definitely like I needed everything to never get destroyed. Everything stays alive. You fail all your saves. I make all my invulns. Everything hits and does maximum damage. That's all. That I don't understand. Is that too much to ask for?
Yeah, I think it is. You can't just say all 6s. You have to actually roll the dice.
Yeah. It's semantics. But it's tough. I mean, it's still tough to say because, I mean, the design was meant to be able to handle vehicles. And the damage reduction on the Redemptors hurt the Dragoons a lot. That was a big part of it. And then I guess I don't really know. What are your feelings into it? It's tough. I'm still kind of digesting it.
Yeah, I mean, the robots, their issue into Space Marines is that they're low toughness. What are they, T8? T9?
T9.
Yeah. And Space Marines with their +1 to wound in the oath target just gets very efficient with a number of shots. I didn't have Vindicators or anything along those lines, but I had enough las cannon shots from Land Raiders and enough other things going into them that
the Vindicators have probably been worse in some aspects too.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. They're going to get more shots because they're D6 +3, as opposed to a Land Raider's flat 4 las cannon shots. They're D6 rather than D6 +1. It's kind of iffy back and forth as far as which one's better. I think the Vindicator, as far as damage output, is just going to be better. You're just going to get more hits. At strength 14, even the T12 stuff, it's wounding on 2s when it's the Oath target. So, but the Land Raiders are good. They're pretty durable for the most part. So it kind of give the opportunity for that shoot back strat a little more often, but really didn't get a chance to do that a whole lot. So I don't know. As far as the AdMech is concerned, it's going to take more practice and play. I think Call got a lot better. If you've been itching to run Call, he's really good. His shooting is very consistent, and the fact he's lone op, we can shoot out with his 18-inch Melta, keeps him kind of safe. Mm-hmm. And then obviously the Oath of Moment, the rerolls to hit is huge.
Yeah, it is, because with the Land Raider, I was able to go, okay, point, click, destroy. Mm-hmm. So that was big. I don't know. I think I probably was too aggressive on the two fronts. You know, having so much over there, I probably should have kept more of my fire support towards the center. But I had to try to take out. I mean, I took out the Land Raider. It's hard to say. It's hard to really say. I need to look at some of the other detachments too now, with this in mind. It's tough to say, like, really, if there was something I could have done differently. It just surprises me that how many vehicles were still left around at the end when I designed it to be anti-vehicle. And so that's what goes in my mind is, okay, well, where was I looking at wrong? Land Raider aside, Land Raider, different column. I was kind of feeling like you might have had one left alive at the end of the game for where I was going. But both Redemptor Dreads still functioning. I didn't even get that one, even when I punched it. So there's that. And so it's like, I got to really look at that and go, okay, what could I have done differently to have this push forward and have this push through? And like you said, the Oath of Moment target, Call's target of re-rolling hits into it was one of the things that I put onto it, but I wasn't able to pick it up. So how do I guarantee that? How do I keep that rolling later into the game? And that might be the aspect of going into other units, into other detachments and other infantry column to be able to do that. So it's some stuff I'll have to look at. Yeah, Call was a superhero. He wasn't the MVP though. The MVP was those servitors.
Yeah, they're so cheap for 60 points. It's really what, 8 bodies?
9. 9? You get the little dude.
Yeah, that's ridiculous because like my Poxwalkers are 65 points for 10 guys with no shooting. And I mean, they got no armor, but they do have a 5-up field no pain. But the fact that those guys have 4-up armor and a 6-up invul, and they got some amount of shooting and some amount of combat, seems like they're a pretty good value for a 60-point unit.
Yeah. So, I mean, after that, I'm a little disappointed because of the fact that I built it to handle vehicles and it didn't handle vehicles. So that's disappointing all in its own right. Is like, okay, this was the design and it didn't do its job. So that to me is a little discouraging in the aspect of AdMech maybe still not having all the necessary tools that it needs. But this is the first time playing it right out the gate. I did kind of just slap some stuff in there. I was happy with the Dragoons. Their durability is still there. You know, they're still tough to deal with, and they were able to clean up some of the infantry like I wanted them to. But they really want the +1 to hit. Without that, they struggle. Having the reroll hits is also really big, is really critical for them too. So there's some aspects there that I might need to work on and work with to get them up to the par that I want them at. And the robots, it was just disappointing. It just, every once in a while, you're going to have that game where your big, beefy, take on the world unit can't take on the world and just get smacked into oblivion.
Can't quite take on the world.
And it was, and that was where it was. They got hit, and it was just all the shots that were high damage that went through. They went through. And I mean, granted, we've had other games where the only saves I'm failing are 1 damage weapons, and every D6 damage or 6 damage weapon I'm making 4-up invulns on. So it can swing either way, but the bigger message that I really want to put out there with it is, if that's the reason that I lost, if that's the reason I lost this game, then you have to ask the question of what other things went wrong to put it in that position, especially when I'm saying anti-vehicle and I'm going into vehicles, and that didn't happen. So there's a lot of other aspects that come up first before I can fully say, well, that was the wash. That was it. So I'll look into it a little bit more and try and figure something out for it and see what I can do to kind of get around that. Maybe it might be, Dragoons or robots. I thought about going into all shooting robots just because of that full rerolls to hit and just the volume that I can put down. Then that becomes a lot of AP 1-2 damage shots that are twin linked. So it's like, that might be an aspect I go and just let the Dragoons do the fighting so I can sit on the shooting one and go +1 ballistic skill for the whole game. But I don't know. There's a Call is great. Call did well. But that's it. I mean, what anything for the Marines? Any feelings there? How you feel about being able to get 2 Land Raiders and everything else you had on the list?
It was fun. Like I said, I was just trying these things out. Like I said, I don't think the Land Raiders are cheap enough to be taken as just a shooting platform. I really wasn't taking full advantage of their transport capacity. So if you're playing something like Blood Angels or something, or Black Templars, or you're transporting things in them, I think it gets more interesting there. But
especially that assault ramp capability.
Yeah. So, but as a standalone shooting, the Vindicator is still a better option. Even though it's less durable, it's just going to pound things a lot harder. Just getting 1 or 2 more hits through is going to make it a more of a difference there. But the Iron Hedgehog was fun, except it's kind of tricky to use it right. So I don't really know. There are a lot of things can go wrong where the recycling of the impulsor doesn't work the way you want it to, but it's fun. I forgot when I turn 1 the target has to be damaged. That's below full strength, so that kind of didn't allow me to do that on turn 1, but you can do it with the Hellblasters in turn 2. So that was fun. But I think it's Gilliman. I think now, because he's gone up in points, I think it's worth it to look at other detachments and other options. To see if you can go without them. With Iron Hands, the way I want to use the strats, I definitely think the free strat is super important, especially because you don't have a captain on a unit. Like with the vehicles, you're using your strats on vehicles, so you need to have Gilliman there to give you those free strats, because a captain on a unit can't give a vehicle a strat. So I think he's really important in this one, and they definitely, with all the vehicles, benefit from double oaths. So I think he's still going to see some play, but I'm interested to see what happens with some other detachments. The Raven Guard one looks really strong. Salamanders looks really strong, so I'm interested to try some of those out as well.
Yeah, it's tough because, like, Gilliman, when you look at a lot of aspects on a lot of this game and a lot of those turns, there was many, many times that you would have had to put Oath of Moment on that secondary target, like the robots, for example, and then other units didn't get that Oath of Moment, such as the Doom Crawlers or the Scorpius tanks. And in doing so, like that one turn specifically, you were able to do so much damage. You picked up the vehicle and were able to pick up almost all the robots on top of that because of having those rerolls and be able to divide that out. And just feeling like the first time, like deciding Oath of Moment targets per se with using Belzeri's Call and seeing it, it's just, it's so much power behind it. So having that across the course of the game, it really is super, super powerful. It's hard to say, like, do you really want to go to a tournament and be in a world where you don't have access to that at any moment? I mean, it's such a strong and powerful ability. I mean, the reroll hits, sustained, all the different aspects of it. It's just hard to see not wanting to have that all the time.
Yeah, I mean, as a Space Marine player, you still get Oath of Moment.
You still get Oath of Moment for that one.
You don't get 2. And at 340 points now, Gilliman's pretty expensive.
And here's me defending it to the guy who has Tome of Ectoclades in every single list when he runs Deathwatch.
All right, well, go ahead and play your Warpbane Task Force Grey Knights, and you can reroll all your hits.
I don't have Oath of Moment in Warpbane Task Force.
But no, I think because he's so expensive, and the fact is that he does just die sometimes. I was lucky that he came back to life in this one when he did die. But the thing I don't like about Gilliman is a lot of the other, someone like the Lion, he he's got 3-up invuln. He's got to fight first, so he has some additional defensive abilities in there. He doesn't stand back up, but I can't rely on Gilman standing back up when he does die. But with only 10 wounds, sometimes he just dies. It takes a grenade, a tank shock, a little bit of shooting, he's gone.
Yeah. I feel that with Demon Princess, like the T10, T toughness 10, in that it's just like, oh, I just failed a bunch of 2 damage hits. And
And with Marines, I mean, the +1 to wound into the Oath Dark is a huge deal, because when I heroic Gilman in to your robots, he didn't do anything. 0 damage done. That's kind of a bummer. So, but that's because I rolled a lot of 2s on the wound roll, and it just wasn't enough to get it through. But obviously, if I was into the Oath target, it would improve things quite a bit there. So,
and that's another good valid point you bring up there too with that, is because like Gilman, in that turn when you did spend the command point in heroic, you did absolutely nothing. So it looked like,
and I spent a command point on armor and contempt to keep him alive. So yeah, you want to talk about your dice being bad somewhere. When I spent 2 CP to heroic Gilman, and then he did 0 damage.
Like, I felt like my damage was fine and my dice roll damage was fine. I just felt like my resilience damage, it was just like, oh, okay, I need a 3-up, roll the dice, 2-2-1-1. And I'm just like, okay. And I think that's a hard thing sometimes to get past. It's like you don't look and see some of the other aspects like you brought up, because when you have a bad dice roll and it just looks absolutely a massive, terrible pocket of 1s and 2s that's staring at you, that's all that imprints in your mind. It's just, oh my gosh, all these 1s and 2s, and that's what imprints. And I feel like that was a big part of it, is like when I failed, oh man, I failed hard. But then some of the other aspects, like that one moment, the robots, they were able to tank Gillivan and go, oh, okay, I guess we're going into another turn. Maybe I went and rushed them out there too early. Maybe I should have just ran the infiltrators and kind of tried to bait you out there. That probably was a little too overzealous in that, but well, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Again, like I said, AdMech definitely have a lot more play on the menu now. With Call, that gives a lot more strength. It's just going to be a matter of finding the good balance and then finding the stratagems that also back up those things well, so that you're able to, like you said, go into another realm off of Oath a moment as well, because it kind of got stuck behind it, because if you can't reroll hits into it, now you're relying on just the dice to be friendly to you.
Yep.
And dice can be very, very cruel and very, very mean.
They can be harsh.
Oh, yeah.
They can be fickle.
Very. All right, guys. Well, that wraps it up for this evening. As always, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you again soon.